So you listen to the propaganda and you listen to all of the pro-chipping information, and you take your kids and put a chip in their hand or a chip under their shoulder or whatever it is, and God forbid one of them gets kidnapped. Now, it's been well publicized that there are only 4, maybe 5 places on the body where this chip is safe to be placed. I believe that the back of the hand is one of those places, underneath the arm, and of course the chip has to sit just underneath the skin. So it's not going to be very difficult to find it if you know where those places are. You just, it's a matter of feel. Look in the 5 places, have a little feel, and you'll be able to find the chip. What is to stop me, if I was a kidnapper, from just cutting it out? Little snip with a scalpel, just under the skin, it's not going to hurt a great deal. And then just hit the transistor with a hammer. How are you going to find your daughter then? Really, this argument with regards to keeping your children safe is not a plausible one. Anyone with half a brain could figure out a way to deactivate that chip or to cut it out. So I wonder how this RFID technology would fare against, say, an electromagnetic pulse. A highly charged electromagnetic pulse fired straight into the transistor. If something like this was applied to, say, my passport, and my passport had to be reissued every time the transistor failed, I wonder how long it would take for them to get fed up and give up on the technology. I wonder if everyone did that. If 4 out of 10 people turned up and their transistors were deactivated somehow or failed to work, I wonder if they'd give up on the RFID chip on the passport. Obviously that wouldn't work with your credit cards because you would obviously turn them off and you'd have no money. So during the early stages of this technology, because it will come in, there's no question, when I'm presenting my passport to the customs official at the airport and he scans my RFID chip, only to find there's no information on there, or that the transistor doesn't work at all, what is he going to do, arrest me? Or is he going to try and prove that I fired an EMP into it? Or is he just going to accept that perhaps the technology isn't quite perfect just yet?
Well, the security card that lawmakers are using at California State Capitol may not be as secure as everyone had hoped. In fact, one California lawmaker proved it can be hacked. That same technology is being considered for a national ID card. ABC 7's Capitol correspondent Nanette Miranda has the story from Sacramento.
Is this Assemblywoman Fran Pavley? Or is this her? The card reader that restricts access to the state capitol says it's this gentleman.
I was Ms. Pavley.
Jonathan Westhuse is really a security consultant hired by State Senator Joe Simidian.
It's my own design.
With a homemade antenna and a laptop, Westhuse was able to read radio waves emitted by Pavley's identity card, duplicate it, and then gain access to a secured area of the state capitol.
All that was done within a moments of time without me even being aware of it.
Simidian's experiment illustrated just how easy it is for a hacker to read those radio frequency identification cards, or RFIDs, from a few feet away.
If you can read someone's information and then literally in a matter of seconds clone their card and pass yourself off as them, imagine the mischief that people can do.
Because the federal government is considering using RFID for a national identification card, Simidian has several bills that would put a 3-year ban or restrictions on the technology's use until more protections are in place. The American Electronics Association opposes Simidian's ideas because encrypting the radio waves is possible.
Our argument is use proper protections. The level of security should directly correlate to the level of sensitivity.
California's Office of Homeland Security says RFID technology is already being used at possible terrorist targets like airports and nuclear plants, but with added layers of protection.
Fingerprints, retinal scans, along with a card is the only way that you're going to get into certain secured areas.
But with the right motivation, the hired hacker says anything is possible.
Money, access, or whatever. By cloning such a card, it's difficult to believe that no one would do it.
So the guy with the big brain there managed to clone a card from a few feet away. But that video is a good 2 or 3 years old now, so I suspect that the technology's gone even further and the readers are able to read from a lot further too. Now if you can read and clone a card from 30 feet or whatever it was, how difficult is it going to be for someone to clone your RFID chip, whether it's implanted or otherwise, whether the security encryption is 128-bit or 75 gigabyte? There is going to be a lot of identity theft going on, And this technology is meant to prevent that. I can honestly only see it getting easier to steal someone's identity.
What's next? At the University of Bath in England, researchers predict big changes for consumers.
I think it is possible to free us completely of our wallets and keys using biometric technology, if that's what people want in 10 years' time.
In fact, it's already here. The latest home security locks use fingerprints to control deadbolts.
I can just see the news reports now, can you? And in rather disturbing news today, Mr. Johnson, who spent thousands and thousands of dollars to make his house more secure by using the new high-tech fingerprint technology, had his house burgled anyway. How did they get in? They cut off his fingers. Here's Tom with that story. So you're not a terrorist and you've nothing to hide. You pay your bills, you pay your taxes, and you have a chip and you're playing the game. This couldn't possibly affect you, could it? All of this legislation, this sharing of information between corporations, couldn't possibly hamper you. I mean, essentially, you're a law-abiding citizen, right? Why don't we take a little tongue-in-cheek look at the possible consequences, even for you?
Pizza Palace, guaranteed hot in 30 minutes or it's free. This is Mary. May I take your order?
Hi, Mary. Yes, I'd like to order.
Is this Mr. Kelly?
Yes?
Thank you for calling again, sir. I show your national identification number is 610-204-999-8-45-54610. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. I see you live at 736 Montrose Court, but you're calling from your cell phone. Are you at home?
I'm just leaving work, but I'm...
Oh, we can deliver to Bob's Auto Supply. That's at 175 Lincoln Avenue, yes?
No, I'm on my way home. How do you know all this stuff?
We just got wired into the system, sir.
Oh, well, I'd like to order a couple of your double meat special pizzas.
Sure thing. There'll be a new $20 charge for those, sir.
What do you mean?
Sir, the system shows me that your medical records indicate that you have high blood pressure and extremely high cholesterol. Luckily, we have a new agreement with your national health care provider that allows us to sell you double meat pies as long as you agree to waive all future claims of liability.
What?
Do you agree, sir? You can sign the form when we deliver, but there is a charge for processing. The total is $67 even.
$67?
Well, that includes the delivery surcharge of $15 to cover the added risk to our driver of traveling through an orange zone.
I live in an orange zone?
Now you do. Looks like there was another robbery on Montrose yesterday. You could save $48 if you ordered our special Sprout Submarine Combo and picked it up yourself. Comes with tofu sticks. Those are very tasty, sir. Good value, too.
But I want double meat.
Well, I'm sure you can afford the $67 then. You just bought those tickets to Hawaii. They weren't cheap, eh? Oh, but I see you checked out the budget beach bum at the library last week. Up to you, sir.
All right. I'll get the Sprout subs.
Good choice, sir. Gotta watch that waist if you're hitting the beach, eh? 42 inches. Wow. Man, I'd say tofu and Sprouts is, like, required.
That's how much?
Just between you and me, there's a $3 off coupon in this month's Total Men's Fitness magazine. Your wife Betty subscribes to that, right? Anyhow, clip that and it's $19.99 even. Whoa, looks like you maxed out on all your credit cards. Bring cash, okay?
Want to stop this from happening?
Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this broadcast, the RFID chip is a massive topic and there is a lot of information to assimilate. I couldn't possibly cover it in 2 10-minute blocks. I just wanted to give my opinion on a couple of aspects of it. What I suggest you do is look up a lady called Catherine Albrecht. She has a couple of excellent seminars on Google Video and YouTube. She knows a lot about the subject and she has a lot of insider information. She can provide you with a very steep learning curve on the subject, and I would certainly take the time out to educate yourself on this one. I'm going to finish off this broadcast with a little recommendation. It's a health recommendation, and I'm a huge advocate of alternative therapies. So what I recommend you do is that you go onto Google and do a Google search for a magnetic pulsar. Do a search for magnetic pulsar, and you will find 2 or 3 different companies that will provide you with one. Now, the good thing about this equipment is that it sends out a high-powered EMP, electromagnetic pulse, into your muscles or into your joints. And the warming effect of those magnetic pulses flushes blood into the muscle or into the joint. And if you've got rheumatoid arthritis or you have rheumatism or you have muscular tension, you will find that the EMP will resolve those issues for you very quickly. It's a wonderful piece of equipment. They usually go for around $200 to $300. or say £150, depending on where you're from. Or alternatively, if you look up to the right there alongside my video, you will find a link to a site that will allow you to build your own magnetic pulsar, having bought all of the components from Radio Shack or somewhere like that. It really is a fantastic piece of equipment, and I'm sure if you think about it, there are many, many uses for it. Thanks for listening.